Looks like this. We've done this before by hand. I don't think we did it with the calculator, did we? We did this one by hand. I had to graph them by hand and get a best fit line through it. Y'all remember this at the beginning of the year? We did a scatter plot, basically. What we did was we plotted all these points on a graph, and then we did a best fit line, and we tried to estimate what the line was. What the calculator does, that's so impossible for us to do by hand. It takes all the possible lines and checks and it actually does this. It takes like all these points. Everybody pay attention to this for a second. It takes this line, for example, this line, and it tests to see how far all these points are away from the line. It squares all those distances and takes the average of those squares. And then it takes another line and does the same thing. And it takes another line and does the same thing. And takes another line and does the same thing until it finds what's called the least squares regression line. And it would take you to do it by hand, it would take you about a month and a half. But your calculator does it in about 10 seconds. And it tells you, based on that mathematical analysis, what the very best line is that goes through those points. It's called the regression line. We're going to do that today. It's not difficult at all. You need to pick out a calculator. As soon as you get it, I want you to clear it all the way. Grab a calculator and clear it. Before we begin this analysis, I have a little rant to go on. You guys have, how many of you know Foamy? Foamy the squirrel from the internet? Nobody knows Foamy the squirrel? Okay, well I have to do a Foamy rant for a minute. I need to tell you guys something. You have been trained to not pay attention in class. You have been trained to not be accountable for your own education. I'm going to tell you right now, it's time to pony up. You need to actually take responsibility for what you're supposed to be doing. This is something I am not going to do. I am not going to sit down with you in the morning, sit down at the table, and spend an hour going over what you should have done today. You need to stay with me. You need to work at the same pace as everybody else. I hate to tell you this, but I have to go at a fairly slow pace. You have to stay on the same page, and you're going to have to pay attention to what we're doing and actually participate in this. This is fairly complicated stuff. You're responsible to learn this. I won't go back and do it over and over and over again. You're going to hear it this time. I'll show it to you very, very well. And you'll get it if you follow along and do what I ask you to do. If you don't, no, you won't get it. If you go off on a tangent, do something else, and get lost, you're not going to know what's going on. If that happens, raise your hand immediately and tell me, I lost a step. And I'll fix you at that point. But if you wait till 20 minutes later and then want me to go back and explain the last 20 minutes, I won't do it. You need to follow and keep up. It's not that difficult, but it is not Algebra 1 anymore. It's not even Algebra 2. We're going to do a little bit of data analysis. First, you need to clear your calculator. If you haven't done that yet, go ahead and do it. Mine takes longer than yours. When you get to reset, make sure you go to all, not just RAM. This is an important step because if you don't do this, your calculator will have different settings than everybody else's, and you won't know what the hell's going on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do statistical analysis on a data set. So I want you to go to Stat. We are going to edit some lists. So I'm going to press Enter under Edit. We're going to edit List 1 and List 2. What the data we're going to put in there is the fat and the calories. We're going to put the fat in List 1 and the calories in List 2. All you have to do is type the number, hit Enter. Type the number, hit Enter.
All of them, which they're the last one?
Yeah, we're going to put in these 18 data numbers. So, they're right here. I'm going to type them in. When you get to the middle of your second one, check to make sure you're online. Make sure that the 22 actually goes with the 450. Does it? Yeah, just make sure you're in the right place. Because sometimes if you miss one, it messes it up. Now, I want to point something out when I get to this very bottom value. I'm going to type in my last value, which is 260. This is a very common mistake, so I want to point it out now, because a lot of people have done this before. I've done this before. I couldn't figure out what I did wrong. You see this cell is still empty, even though I typed the 260? If you don't press the Enter, it leaves it blank, and then when you try and do your analysis, it messes it up because your two lists don't match. So you need to make sure that the very last thing you press is the Enter, and make sure it actually goes in the cells. Everybody have 18 values in both cells?
Yes, sir.
Both lists? Okay. Before we do our analysis, we're going to do a scatter plot. This is very easy to do. We are going to go to what's called stat plot. It's above your y equals. Everybody see it written in yellow there? That means you press second y equals. Now I'm going to do the very first one. See how it says the plot 1 is off? Press Enter. See how the on is flashing? and the off is highlighted. I'm going to press enter, and it'll turn it on. I've now turned on my stat plot. What this is going to do, and if you look down below here, you have a lot of choices here. I can plot this data just using a scatter plot. I can plot it using a graph where they actually draw the lines in between the data. I'm not interested in that. This would be sort of like one of those, if you've ever seen the stock market results, how they have the little bar, that little thing going up and down, there it is. They can do a bar graph. They have lots of choices here. Notice that my X list is list 1, and my Y list is list 2. Looks good. I have a choice between squares and pluses and little tiny points. I'm going to go ahead and use the squares so I can see them real well. Everybody got it? Now, unfortunately, when I press graph, nothing happens. Here's the problem. That's only 12 by 12, isn't it? Uh-oh, those numbers are a bit bigger than that. They're up over there somewhere. Yeah?
Yes.
So we need to fix it. How do we do that? Go to Window. That's right. Now, I'm going to go a little below where I need to go and a little above so that I can actually see a little past where the window is. My smallest value is 0 on the fat grams. That's my X values, or my grams of fat. So I'm going to go a little below 0 so that I can actually see the axis. Because if you go right at 0, then your axis is right at the very edge of your screen. It's a little hard to see. So I'm going to go with -5 maybe. The highest fat calories you see there are about 34, 35. But I want everybody to go to 50. I'll tell you why in a minute. We can go to 50. For Y minimum, I think the lowest calories was like 35, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm still going to go to -5 so I can see my Y, so I can see that axis in there. And I want to go to 600. I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to go 700. It's just 700. There we go. And now I'm going to graph. Bless you. Beats trying to put all the points on there by hand, isn't it? Lots of them all. Now, there appears to be a relationship. It's not a very strong relationship, but it seems to be going up. As the fat calories go up, the calories go up?
Yeah.
Or the fat grams, excuse me. These are the grams of fat, and the calories seem to be going up. The reason that they're not on a perfectly straight line is because this is the total calories in the food. If I look, you know how they started putting in fat calories now?
Yeah.
If I did just fat calories, this would be a perfect line, wouldn't it? The number of grams of fat represent exactly a certain number of calories. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
But there's carbohydrates in these things, some more than others. The ones that have lots of carbohydrates are going to be up here, and the ones that have less carbohydrates are going to be down here. Is that clear? The ones that just have fat are going to be down here at the bottom. Got it? Now we want a best fit line. We're really good at this as human beings. We can look at that and we can go, I think I hit a lot of them. I get the best fit line. I think it looks something like that. Now that's my best guess. And human beings are really good at this. But to find the least squares regression line, it would literally take a month of calculations. I mean, you would be sitting there all day long trying different ones and trying to zero in on that perfect line. But your calculator does it for you. Go to Stat. Let's have a calculator least squares regression line. We go to Calculate. I was going to leave that on there so you can see how well I did. I'll show you in a minute. We're going to go to linear regression. Got it? Mm-hmm. Press Enter. It hasn't done it yet. It's just telling me what it's going to do. And I press Enter again. And it did it. What does this A represent? That's the slope. Do you know what the slope is? Approximately? Calories per gram. Isn't it the change in Y over the change in X? Calories per gram, approximately. If if the food was, if I was doing fat calories, this would be exactly 9, because there's 9 calories in every gram of fat. The reason it's more is because there's some carbohydrates being added in. What is this? The y-intercept. If it doesn't have any fat in it, it has about 100 calories. Because there's stuff that's fat-free that has calories, doesn't it? Does it have the sugar in it? Is that clear? Now, we can graph this by typing in y equals, and we could type in these numbers, and we could estimate them, but we can actually get in the exact values. Go to y equals. Now, this is a real pain to type in, so we're going to let the calculator do it automatically. It's a little hard to find. I want everybody to find variables. It's V-A-R-S. It's right next to clear. See it? Press that. V-A-R-S. It's right next to clear. It's the variables. And we are doing statistical analysis, so we're going to go to statistics. See it? Press enter. Now we're going to go to the equations. We're interested in the regression equation, which is the very first one under equations. And we press enter, and it puts our regression equation in our y equals. See the 11.2737484. I mean, you do not want to copy this, especially when you're doing the quadratic regression or quartile regression. It's horrible. It's like this long. It takes up the whole space. Got it? Grab it. There was mine. Not too bad. Human beings are pretty good at this. I think mine was up a little higher, actually. I think mine was right about there, actually, kind of right there. Not too far off, though. Yeah. Now we can diagnose this. We can see how good of a guess we've got. It'll actually diagnose itself. You go to, everybody do this, press second. Just press stat again.
Wait, what do we do?
Just press stat and calculate the linear regression again. Then press enter. And enter again. Okay. What I want it to do is I want it to diagnose how good this is, how good of a fit this is. And if I want to do that, I have to go to catalog and turn the diagnostic on. Your catalog is above 0. Everybody find it? See the word catalog? Press second catalog. And turn your diagnostic on. You have to go down to D's. Above 0. You see where it says diagnostic on? By the way, if you're ever having trouble finding something on your calculator and you can't find it anywhere else, you can always go to catalog and it lists everything in alphabetical order.
And do we click diagnostic on?
Second 0. And we're going to press the diagnostic on like this. And then press enter. Got it? Press enter again. Okay. We'll have to go back and do the stat again. So go to stat, calculate linear regression. This number right here is called the variance and the standard deviation. The closer it is to 1, the better fit to your data. It's not a real strong correlation. It's pretty strong, but not real good. Right here, a 0.7 means that I'm about 70% accurate. I could be 30% off, in other words. So it's not a real accurate, because it's not, it doesn't fall in a real straight line, does it? Y'all see what I mean? Because it means I could be off a bit. That's what this is telling me. All right, we're going to analyze the other data. And go ahead and go through all the steps we just went through. In order to clear if you want to go to your list and edit your list, watch this, guys. To clear your lists, if you press stat edit, you're going to be in your list. See them? Now, if you want to clear them, you don't have to because there's 18 in the other one as well, I think. But you can go to list 1 like this and press clear, and it'll clear your list. And the same thing for list 2. You can go up here to list 2. See how it lists it down here?
Yeah.
You can press clear and it'll clear it out. But you don't have to, but you could. Sometimes you need to do that.